Hey guys and girls, this is Matt Hayes with MakeMoneyInYourBoxers.com, and I'm coming at you today to discuss what's necessary to set up the habits to help you achieve the goals that you have in your life. And I started out this morning listening to a podcast between a entrepreneur and a movie star, starlet, I should say, because she actually has careers in many different fields. And in the conversation, they were talking about, what drove her, what it was like when she became successful, and then the part that was interesting to me was she talking about what's next for her. And in that conversation, they were talking about her goal for the next year was to create balance. And as they were going on and on, they were talking about creating balance and the benefits of balance and all these other things. And as I was thinking, I'm like, this is total crap. Anybody who's listening to this podcast is obviously interested in success and growth and entrepreneurialism. And really, I mean, for 90% of us that are in trying to create a business or a lifestyle outside of the norm, creating balance is the opposite of what you want to do. See, nobody that's ever done anything that's been really impactful to the world has had balance while they were doing it. They were taking something that was an idea in their mind, something that didn't exist, and they were bringing it into fruition into the world. And that takes a real manic, almost obsessive focus to do so. If you look at people who have really made a difference in our life, in the world, I should say, people like Steve Jobs, Lance Armstrong, Michael Jordan, in any area, you're talking about business, sports, or any type of field, industry, whatever, they didn't have a balance in their life. They were just completely focused about what they were doing and what they were about. And that is really something that you need when you're getting going or, creating a business. Now, this starlet happened to be, extremely successful in a number of different fields. So she's at a different spot in her career and her life, and that's why they were discussing balance, and her priorities have shifted. So I know she didn't have balance while she was becoming a movie star or while she was becoming a dancer or, her other entrepreneurial ventures that she had, because it just doesn't happen that way. But it made me start thinking, well, if balance isn't the key, and to create something and to be successful at something, you have to be almost like crazy manic about doing the activities that are going to get you there. How do you do that? Because self-discipline is not the tool to use. The amount of energy and focus and work that you have to do to achieve some of these goals, to create businesses, to create large incomes, to build, a athletic skill to the point where you be a pro athlete or something, that takes something that's much, much above what we're all capable of doing with our self-discipline. If you laid out what the activities and the hours and the training and the needs to get those things done, to expect that you're going to just, will yourself into that is going to leave you short, because self-discipline evaporates very quickly, as we've all noticed in our lives, whether if we try to build a business or we try to create an exercise routine or anything in your life to better yourself, take you from where you are to where you want to go. You kind of put the steps in place, and once you've got the steps in place, you think you've got 90% of it done. But the funny thing is that the information or the how-to is the easy part. It's sticking to that plan and that what you need to do to get there. And so many of us just think, well, I really want to do it. I'm gonna do it this time. I'm gonna stick it out. But self-discipline isn't the tool to use, and nor is motivation. You need to replenish that motivation on a regular basis, but it goes away real quick. Real life shows up, and it gets real hard. So I was thinking, as I was listening to this, like, well, so if balance isn't the key, and it's, neither is self-discipline, what is it that, creates these habits and how to make them stick? And what I realized is I was looking back over my life, and only time that I've ever done anything, compulsively, like where I did it every single day, no matter what I felt like, no matter what the situation was, no matter what the circumstances, it was when I was like addicted to something. I look at in my life now, I would say that I'm addicted to caffeine. So I have coffee every single morning. I have it throughout the day, and sometimes in the afternoon and some other things. And I know that I can't imagine my morning without a cup of coffee. and I know that I'm going to have a certain amount of cups of coffee every day, and I'm going to get it every time I go to the grocery store, and whether I want it or I don't want it, I'm going to have it. It's just ingrained in what I do. And if any of us, but me especially, if I were looking at my life, if I had that level of addiction to what's necessary to grow my business, which is things like prospecting and client calls that you don't want to make and things like that, then I can imagine where I would be if I had that level. And I don't even want to use the word commitment, because when you're addicted to something, it's compulsory. It's like you don't even have a choice. You're going to do it. And so if I'm not saying you should go out and get addictions, especially not to substances. Of course, that's not a healthy way to live. But if you can understand the power and the mental constructs of what create those quote unquote addictions, and you can take those and you can put those into healthy habits, then you can kind of put yourself out of the driver's seat and put it into the automaticity that drives those, those quote unquote bad habits. If you can use that for good, then you can kind of step back and get outside of what people try to use, like the tools of balance and time management and self-discipline and all these things that fail us over and over again, and kind of put it in as a hyper shot and get you there a heck of a lot faster. Because if you can create something, if could you imagine if exercise was an addiction for you, how healthy you would be? If eating vegetables was an addiction for you, if meditation was an addiction to you, where you had to do it every single day, no matter what you felt like, no matter what was going on in your life, it was something that you just had to do as a release, then your life would be completely different. So that's my tip for the day, is to get addicted. So understand the concepts of addiction, and get out of any negative ones that you have, any bad habits, bad addictions, and use those and replace those with good habits, and let those addictions create a compound effect on your life. And that way you'll be able to achieve your goals much quicker, and you can use a tool that'll actually get you there, rather than relying on something that like motivation or self-discipline or balance, or things that don't really equate to what you want to get. So that's what I wanted to share. I just wanted to get to the idea that people use balance as something to achieve, and I don't think if you're trying to do anything out of the ordinary in your life, whether it be business or health or success or relationships, that balance is not the key. Not until you've gotten there and you've achieved it, then you can create balance along your life. But you got to get crazy about it. And to get crazy about it, you've got to do the work. And to do the work consistently at the level you need to, you can't rely on self-discipline. You've got to use an idea of like being addicted to it and creating those habits around it. So that's what I got for you today. We'll be talking again here soon. Again, this is Matt with MakeMoneyInYourBoxers.com, and we'll talk. All right, take care.